Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game. So today I got a very exciting video for you guys today, and that is because I am playing Splatter World on MiSTer FPGA. If that doesn't sound familiar whatsoever, you did click on the thumbnail after all, but this is the cancelled JRPG sequel to Splatterhouse on the NES, not the beat-em-ups, but the action platformer. And this game, in certain circles, is absolutely legendary when it comes to cancelled NES and Famicom games. It has long been rumored to exist out there in collectors' hands, and as of yesterday, Halloween, it was leaked late in the evening on 4chan of all places. But when I say this is something that got talked about in hushed, kind of quiet circles, would be an understatement. People have been trying to find this thing for forever. Now, as far as the origin of where this comes outside of 4chan, absolutely no idea whatsoever. Sometimes things just leak out onto the internet, those lost games just kind of have to run with it. But from playing this in the background myself and Kilter Music helping me capture, everything here seems to indicate that this is a legit ROM dump of a game. If this was some sort of prank, they definitely went to all the extents in the world to actually get this thing feeling like a real Famicom game from back in the day, and I am like 99.9% confident that this is the legit deal, but of course I'm leaving myself a little bit of an out if we find out otherwise. But this is absolutely stellar to see because, again, this is something that people have been looking for forever. And honestly, Splatterhouse is such an incredible franchise. Even the 360 game, while flawed, is a fun time. And it's one of those things, people were looking forward to this game back in the day. There's been a couple of VHS tape dumps of this game recorded off real hardware from a long time ago, so we did know it existed. We knew it was at least out there somewhere at some point in time, but there really haven't been any evidence whatsoever to support the fact that it still existed up until the point in time that this ROM was dumped. Now, as far as where you can get it, you're going to have to go over to 4chan, and honestly right now it only works on one NES emulator, but the ROM was actually modified by the MiSTer FPGA community to change the header up because it uses a very weird mapper, so if you have MiSTer FPGA, MiSTer Pi, it'll also work as well. And I'm sure this thing is going to definitely get made to work on real NES hardware. And if you're wondering, yes, it's entirely in Japanese, but people are already talking about a big translation effort, so I wouldn't be surprised if this thing wasn't playable in the next 3 or 6 months in full English, so everyone in the Splatterhouse fan community and everyone else out there could definitely enjoy it. And that's really what I love about the retro gaming community. When they get onto a goal, they absolutely speedrun the ever-living hell of it to make sure we can all have fun with the thing. Now, it should go without saying, having seen the footage here and listening to me talk about it, that this is a JRPG through and through, where the original NES Splatterhouse was basically an action platformer, and all of the other Splatterhouse games have been beat-em-ups. So maybe that's why this game never actually came to market, because Splatterhouse was a big property, but maybe people at Namco just thought to themselves, maybe this isn't the type of thing that people are going to want to play with an actual RPG element behind it. But I am really excited to see this thing get translated, because I want to get more lore of the Splatterhouse universe, of the West Mansion, and everything else in between. And while I have absolutely no idea if this game would be considered canon or not by the original developers, it would be a lot of fun to actually get more Splatterhouse content. I love Rick here with this kind of super chibi form. I love the Terror Mask and all the other enemies. It definitely has a very fun vibe going on. Now, of course, I have absolutely no idea if this game is complete or not as the ROM, because it's all in Japanese, and trying to actually get through to the end would be a near impossibility without pointing your phone at the screen and trying to get a real-time translation, because you're going to get a lot of information that is going to be in kanji that, unless you read Japanese, is going to be completely lost to you. So as far as whether or not this is a complete game, if it's a prototype, if it's a finished thing that just doesn't see retail, we will have to wait and see as researchers go through, kind of pick apart the ROM, and try to actually beat the game. But I'm pretty sure we'll probably know that in the next day or so, because the Japanese community is definitely going to be playing this one as well, and they'll be able to actually read the kanji on the screen and tell us whether or not you can beat this game and if it's complete. So I will definitely update, at least on Twitter, when people find that out, because I do have some inquiries out there with some Japanese people I know that will definitely try to beat this game and let me know whether or not you can complete it. And that genuinely is the hope, because if this thing gets translated, we're talking about a brand new NES JRPG in the Splatterhouse franchise that has always been rumored to exist but never actually seen before. And that is definitely absolutely spectacular, because if you know me and you know the channel, I'm always talking about and advocating for actual preservation of these games, and I'm always dumping things when I come across them. So I'm so glad to see somebody or a group of somebody's out there actually cared enough to not only find this game somewhere, but actually share it on Halloween of all days, the perfect day in fact. But here's your first soundtrack sample. The music's amazing, and I'll be right back. I mean, it's fun music and it's light horror, but it's definitely less intense and less horror vibe than the original Splatterhouse 2, 3, or even the Xbox 360 or PlayStation 3 remaster. And to say I'm a Splatterhouse fan would be an understatement. I own all of the games as well as the FM Towns version, which is widely considered to be the best home port of Splatterhouse outside of owning the original arcade board. I grew up playing Splatterhouse, and I've always been curious about this game, because there's so many games back in the day that were in development. You saw previews of them, maybe in Japan or maybe in the US, and they never actually came out. And for every game like Splatterhouse, there's 100 out there that didn't have a big franchise behind it that people weren't actually curious about. But that is why this game is that much more important as a dump, at least from the overall excitement standpoint. Pretty much everyone that's watching this channel has at least played one Splatterhouse game before. I have loved the entire franchise, but leave me a comment down below and you tell me which is your favorite entry. Now you'll see here on the actual menu system, this is where it's going to get very difficult to play the game until it is translated, because of course every single thing here is going to be in Japanese. So I'm sure we've already seen like 3 or 4 clues as to what to do next or where to go next flash on screen, but of course without that ability to read the kanji, you are totally going to get stuck. And it's not like there's any walkthroughs out there on the internet for this thing, because as of me recording this, it has been out for all of like 10 hours. I actually found some time on Saturday to record this so you guys could watch it Sunday morning, or at least that is when I am planning on scheduling this video. Because trust me, I got multiple different messages about this. People from Discord, people on Twitter, people even texting me saying, hey, did you see the following? And I actually did see it, and I was planning on making a video, but I was stoked to see everyone out there as excited for something like this as I am. Now, as far as whether or not the game is quote-unquote good, I have absolutely no idea, because of course a lot of what a JRPG is the storyline. Although I will say the overall graphical stylings here absolutely fun, and basically mirror the actual NES version of Splatterhouse, because it's kind of that thing. On the Sega Genesis moving into the Xbox 360, the stylings are always basically just being super gory and realistic, but when you had Splatterhouse on the NES and this cancelled sequel, you have way more of a cartoonish look, so I'm not sure if the story actually adheres to that, or if it does something completely different. And I will say all the colors here, all the different artwork for the characters really do have a very distinct visual style. And as far as what that hole is in the middle of that pathway and why you can't bypass it, I have absolutely no idea, and I'm sure a lot of the text we're getting there was probably telling us exactly why you can't go through. Now it is possible I could have held my phone against the screen while I was editing this and find it out for you, but honestly it is a little bit more fun to be a little bit more mysterious. And whether or not this is actually the West Mansion down here, I have no idea, but it kind of looks like 10% like the artwork from the original Splatterhouse game. But this is going to be very interesting to follow along with, because again, if any game is going to get translated as fast as possible, it is going to be Splatter World, because people have been looking for this thing, people are curious about what it's all about. It has basically been rumored to be out there forever, and sometimes it takes 10, 20, 30 years for a game to finally make its way out onto the internet for fans to enjoy, and damn it, if there was going to be one, this one is very high up on my list. But you tell me down below again, what is your history with the Splatterhouse franchise? I would be curious. I originally played the original game in arcades, definitely rented the Sega Genesis version 2 and 3, and then later on in life as I started collecting games, I got everything Splatterhouse I could. And I really hope they make a repro cartridge for this one day, because I want it on the shelf. But a soundtrack sample 2 time right now, 45 seconds, and I'll be right back and hint a little bit more about how you can find it. I mean, honestly, it's interesting that the soundtrack is so bright and cheery there, but it really isn't surprising. Splatterhouse on the original arcade board and TurboGrafx or PC Engine, as well as Splatterhouse 2 and 3 on the Sega Genesis and the remake on 360 and PlayStation 3, played up the straight-up gore and horror aspect, where the original Splatterhouse on Famicom was way more cartoony, way more cute, and was kind of the flip side of that coin. So obviously Splatter World here seems to be adhering to that formula. Now we will have to wait and see, at least until the Japanese community responds back to us, whether or not this game is definitely a lost hidden gem, or whether it is decent. But even if it isn't the best game of all time, the fact that it actually exists now, and you can play it today if you pop over to 4chan, or probably look on Twitter and just search Splatter World, it is amazing that it's out there. because that is something I constantly talk about on the channel. Sharing lost games and seeing people have fun with them and enjoy them and be excited about them is way more fun than hoarding something and being the only person on the planet that can play it. I've never understood that mentality, and I'm always fighting against it, because whether it's me sharing something with you or someone from 4chan doing it, seeing people have fun with something else is always going to be a good time. So if you want to play it today, you probably pop over to 4chan, you search Splatter World on Twitter or even on Google and you will find it. But we're done, go check the game out, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.